All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow, and remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. And today, ladies and gentlemen, got a very special guest for you. Give you a couple of words about my guest. Singer, songwriter, performer, talent. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Roger Ortega.
What's going on, my man? How are you?
Man, I am great, brother. I am great, man. I'm feeling the energy, man. I'm loving the Kansas City Chiefs in the bag. I'm loving the KU. I'm loving like the Midwest representation. You know what I'm saying? So
always.
We're gonna talk about all this, man. All this fusion going on. But the first thing I want to talk about is, man, you released a single called "Spread Love." All right. Yes. Now, not only was this. It wasn't a regular single, but it was part of a birthday surprise. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about it? Because I don't want to give it all away. I want you to tell the people.
So
pretty much about
I was approached by some fans of New Kids on the Block, group back in the 80s and 90s, and who have continued success through the recent, I'd say, last 10, 12 years. And I mean, unparalleled success that you would think these guys were washed up. They're selling out boats, they're selling out concerts, everything. The leader of that group, Donnie Wahlberg, is a very, very positive person, and his fans love him to death. And I'm a huge fan myself. And Donnie and I know each other, and so one of his fans had come to me and asked if I would write a song using his hashtag, which is spread love and love will spread, and use some of the lyrics or some of his, like they call them words of wisdom, some of his tweets. And I thought, yeah, I could do that, definitely. So while she was getting me some of the tweets together that, that I could choose from and try to figure out how to make them work in a song, I remember I found the track that I wanted, I got it, and so the track was just in my head, and I stepped into the shower and I was like, how do I want to write this song? I obviously want it to be a positive song, spread love and love will spread. And first line that popped in my head was, how do we stop the tears from falling from so many broken hearts? Because at the time, this was happening in July, so lots of protests were going on, and there was lots of, there's just a ton of stuff going on. And I was like, how can we stop the tears from falling? And then I ended up just writing the first verse on my own. And then by the time I got, back to writing the song, she had sent me some tweets, and I picked and chose the ones that I wanted that would fit and make the most sense for the song. And what was really cool about it is when the song was said and done, I knew it was something special. I knew that this was probably one of the best songs I'd ever written. And the fact that I got to share those lyrics with Donnie Wahlberg was great. But what was really cool was we got to be on the Zoom call when he heard it for the first time with him. And, his face, he was keeping it close to the chest at first. I'm like, shoot, does he hate it? Does he not like it? But he was just speechless, and that's what was really cool. He really appreciated it, and he loved the song. And so what we did was we made it a free download for everybody and anybody that wants it. And so you can get that at rogerortega.com, or you can go to my SoundCloud, which is Roger Ortega as well, and get it. I will say this, my man from Naughty by Nature, KG, I sent it to him first. And he sent me a message right away. He's like, bro, this is your best work. So if KG is saying that, it's something, man. It's something.
Well, that's what's up. Shout out to Naughty by Nature, man.
Yes, sir.
What's up? All right. Okay. So look, man, I want to talk about you for a second. Midwest guy from Topeka, Kansas.
Yes, sir.
All right. Born and raised. All right. Tell us about your musical inspiration, because I always tend to feel that people from the Midwest, no offense to my West Coast or East Coast or down South people, but it's just a little bit different from the Midwest than where else. So tell us a little bit more about your musical inspiration, and how do you use those inspirations in your sound?
So I think growing up, my dad was in a band, my uncles, and they were, since I was a kid, they were in a band together. And they always played, they were known as a Tejano band, which is, Tex-Mex music. And so I'm familiar with that style somewhat, but they also played everything from R&B to rock to, you know, anything top 40. Right. So I was always being introduced to these new sounds and different styles of music, but I gravitated more towards the pop, and those influences stayed with me. You know, in the 90s, I actually discovered 90s country, which to me was running parallel with 90s R&B, because in the time you had like Garth Brooks, you had Travis Tritt, you had Keith Whitley, and all these amazing George Strait, like just hit makers in country music that were crossing over to mainstream. Right. But at the same time, you had the 90s R&B groups, you had Babyface, you know, and I noticed that there was a real connection between 90s country and 90s R&B, and that was the songwriting, the style, the lyrics, the stories, the crooning even, you know. Granted, one had crooning more with a drawl, you know, but yeah, you know, it was, and I fell in love with 90s country. But oddly enough, I actually just started learning a song. I learned to play the piano, or I'm learning to play during this whole quarantine thing. And one of the songs I'm learning is a song by Keith Whitley called "Don't Close Your Eyes." It's a brilliantly written, like beautifully sad song. But I'm hoping to maybe play it, you know, put it out on a little video or something a little later. But my point is, those influences all kind of came together for me. The biggest influences artist-wise, I would say, would be like George Michael's my number one, of course. Michael Jackson. Richard Marx is a songwriter and singer, like just an incredible songwriter. I was just telling someone last night that a lot of people don't know that he wrote "Dance with My Father" for Luther Vandross. Richard Marx. Yeah. And yeah, and he's
all right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, a lot Babyface, you know, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, all those guys, Lionel Richie. I mean, I can go on and on about my influences. DeBarge, you know what I mean? So I'm telling you, I've had a lot of influences. There are some Tex-Mex groups that have influenced my style growing up as well. But yeah, man, it just kind of all comes together. But I lean more towards the R&B pop side.
Okay, man. Well, look, I love it, man. I love it because I checked out some of your stuff on YouTube, and man, I love the little laid-back flow, you know, especially the video you just had at the piano, and you know, you had the little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, you were getting it in. I was like, okay, he's all right. He's being real smooth right now. Okay, all right.
That was a cool song to write. It was a tough song to write because, again, I was just learning to play the piano over the last few months.
Right.
And when I started these chords one Sunday morning, these chords just started flying out of me, and I swear, I thank God that second. I was like, I don't know where these are coming from, but I'm gonna take these.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to write a song for my wife, and I always, you know, and not to give be TMI, but a lot of times we go to bed, we don't wear much, you know, if anything, and I'll put my hand on her hip a lot, you know, and that's when I'll close my eyes and I'll say my prayer, and I'll pray for her, I'll pray for our girls. And I always thought, man, if I could turn that into something, you know, a song, I need that moment is so beautiful. And that's why the song starts, hand on your naked hip, more than a touch, because it's not just me touching you, I'm praying for you, you know, praying through you. And so to write that song, it's not like I have a private space to do it. This is pretty open over to the rest of the house here, you know, downstairs. So I'm trying to write this song quietly so she doesn't know, because I surprised her with it for her birthday. So.
Okay, look at him. Smoothie.
Yeah, man.
Gotta watch out for this guy. All right. No. So, man, any plans for an EP, album, anything of that nature?
So, yes and no. I don't really know. I'm putting things together. I'm writing. I'm recording. But it's a big undertaking, at least for me, to do an EP or an album. The last two albums I did were fairly successful for me. You know, the first one hit number 62 on iTunes back in 2012. The last one, The Lottery, hit number 8 on iTunes. But it's a massive undertaking and a financial risk, because you don't know that you're going to make it up. You don't know that you're going to get that money back. And so, granted, with me not being able to tour, you know, and do shows and whatnot, it's a bit of a heavy, you know, risk right now. to take anything that we have in here and say, okay, let's just put this all back over here and hope it comes back. You know, and granted, it might, but you know, I gotta say, people are fickle. You never know. This industry is fickle. But I do plan on meeting. One of the reasons I ended up here was because I was in a boy band from Kansas. I started a group when I was 14. We had a production deal. We moved up here in '98. Things fell apart shortly after that. But over the last few months, man, I don't know what it is, but these guys, we've been talking. And so we're going to have a meeting in the beginning of January and see where it goes. So if things go right, we could possibly have, the group was called Slow Motion. That's SLO with a line over the O, and Slow Motion. And we might possibly, you know, do a project next year. So this is my dream project. And I've said this since I started, because in that group, I always felt like I was the weakest singer in the group. It was my group. So, you know, I had to be a part of it. But these guys are the reason. Of anybody in the group, I would have been the last one you thought would have a career doing this, you know, put out a solo album or two, you know. But I have, and I'm so thankful that I want these guys to have a little bit of that too. So that's been my dream project. And so we're so close to finally making something, at least start, you know, greasing the wheels for it. So.
All right. Well, man, look here, man. You know, let's just hope that comes to fruition in 2021. And, man, let's just make that happen. And let's just get some good stuff out here.
Yes, sir.
Now, you sort of hit on this just a second ago, because of everything going on, you know, the pandemic and COVID, what have you. You had to cancel your RO cruise, roll cruise, the cruise with row.
Yeah.
Cruise. I'm gonna go roll cruise.
That was heartbreaking.
Because this was going to be your second annual coming up in October, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we were trying to make this a thing, and we still will. Just we got to let things cool off a little bit. But yeah, we were planning on going. This was going to be a 5-day cruise, I believe, from New York to the Bahamas, and we were set, man. We were set. We had a nice crew going. And, you know, we were planning everything out, and then everything comes crashing down. And we held on to hope as long as we could. But during this pandemic, we were like, listen, right now, the cruise lines have these people's money. They might need it. True. Let's take it back. So that's where we are with that. I think we're going to shoot for something maybe around the spring, maybe April 2022. I know that seems so far out, but that's the way we got to kind of do it right now.
Yeah, right. Well, okay, but all is not lost, ladies and gentlemen. Just because you can't enjoy the cruise, we've come up with wine and karaoke with Rob.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
So Wednesday night online wine and karaoke is an event that we host usually once a month. I know when we first started, it was every 2 weeks, but it was getting to be a bit much because a lot of times we'll run themes. You know, we've done boy band night, so you got to sing something from boy band. We've done 90s R&B night. Okay. We did a hair band night, like 80s hair band. Okay. And those songs are really hard to sing. but it's been a way for me to kind of connect with my fans and keep that rapport, you know, back and forth with them, and for me to see them to see me, and kind of give me that creative outlet to still perform for them without getting too stale on, you know, just singing my stuff every 2 weeks. We've recently pulled back to like once a month, but the last one we did was last week. It was the Christmas edition, and I'm going to tell you, this was my favorite one because my 8-year-old daughter, she came up to me a few weeks ago and asked if she could sing on it, and I was like, well, of course, you know. And she's like, can I? And I asked her, I said, well, can I sing with you? And she said, yeah. I said, what do you want to sing? She said, Last Christmas. And sure enough, she got up there and she killed it. I was so proud of her. I was such
a shout out to the look here. Shout out to the daughter, all right, for having the courage to stand up during Christmas time. That's what's up. I like that. All right. So there you go. Karaoke with Ro.
Yes.
Check it out.
One more thing that came out of that is something that I do have every week. I'm sorry, I talk a lot, man. Is every Sunday night on Instagram Live at 10 p.m. Eastern, me and my co-host, we do a show called Sunday Night Soft Rock with RO. And we do, it's basically just a silly podcast type thing, but you're watching us live and interacting with us. And, you know, we do bits like would you rather is usually the first thing when we jump into the show. So he'll ask me, my co-host, would you rather X, Y, and Z or X, Y, and Z? And I tell him why. We take the fans' information. We do sports and news with Huey Lewis and the news playing in the background. That's what we call it.
Okay, all right.
So that's kind of our headline segment. And then we do requests and dedications from obviously real people. And what the fans love this, because what I do is we'll read letters from people like they're actually characters from movies, and it's always fun for people to kind of be put it together like, oh, that's from Star Wars, or that's from whatever. And so it's goofy. We give away 100 pennies every week, which is really $1. But what we started doing with that is because it's $1, a lot of people, I'll send them the $1. A lot of people just send it right back, but they one of my fans had given us the idea to maybe just at the end of the month donate, the money to like St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So granted, it's only like $4 or $5. Sometimes we have to give away 2 winners because technology will say this person, show up on my screen, this person won, and then this long story. But yeah, so we're donating that. My friend and I, my co-host and I, Adrian Mosqueda, we try random foods, pickles and peanut butter, just whatever, man. We have guests. It's a fun time. People laugh. People love it. It's a PG-13, maybe PG-15, 16, type show. But it's good. Every Sunday night on Instagram.
All right. Check them out, y'all. I mean, it sounds very interesting, and it sounds like you really keep the people involved. And, man, we need a lot of that going on in today,
Yeah.
So that's going to take me into my next question. Man, this year, look, you can come up with a lot of negative things to say about this year. Man, so many things have happened. No need to mention all that. I'm going to go on a totally different route. You talked about possibly getting back with your band members. You talked about, working on a new skill such as playing the piano during this time. Can you give me some more positive, something like one of your main positives that 2020 has brought you?
Aside from honestly getting so much time with my family, I mean that's the number one thing. But outside of that, because that's a pretty obvious one. Well, not obvious for everybody, but it's obvious for us because we like being together. But my family and I, we started jiu-jitsu in January. Okay. And man, when I tell you like there's nothing like going into class, rolling with people, tapping out, tapping people out, getting in arm bars, guillotines, and to have my daughters, starting that journey, because I wanted to put them in something that would, most fights, most attacks end up on the ground. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is all about that groundwork. And so, man, I could do a whole other show on that. How much I have 3 stripes on my white belt. I'm going to be testing either next week, maybe this week, I don't know, for my 4th stripe on my white belt. So I'm making a lot of strides there. I love it. But another thing that I do, and I always forget to talk about this in an interview, and it's actually a pretty damn cool thing. I have not missed, I work out 6 days a week. I have not missed one single workout since December 31st, 2016. I'm closing in on 4 years. 4 years. I've managed, my goal was, let me see if I can knock out every single excuse available that, and just overcome it. And I've been hit by a car. I was doing shows, late nights in the studio, 0 sleep, colds, blah, blah, blah. I've not let one single thing stop me from my workout. Now, I document this on Instagram every day so people don't know that so people don't think that I'm lying, Right. So every day, right now, I think today I hit 1,237, 36 workouts. Wow. And so by the time this year ends, I'll have reached 1,251. So I'm almost there for 4 years straight. I don't know if I'm going to do 5. It's hard, man. It's hard to get up every day and be like, but I committed. And so, yeah, man, that also became, 80 to 90% vegetarian. So, I mean, this year, has been really good for me in a lot of ways, man. I like to take, lemons and make lemonade, man. That's all we can do. It's all we can do.
Well, I mean, but just think about everything that you said. You know, everything that you've said has been a positive. You know, from the family, you know, working out together, you know, man, training together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu together. You know, like we're tapping out other families. You know, like I mean, come on, man. Like it doesn't get any better than that. You know, you're having a wonderful 2020.
Yes.
But no, man, I love it, man. Everything that you talked about has been positive, and that's pretty much what my show is about, man. It's about the motivation. It's about, you know, the empowerment. And man, you have, like you said, you've taken lemons and you've made lemonade.
Absolutely.
Man, I definitely commend you for that. So, Mr. Roger Ortega, this is pretty much brought me to the last question of my show. The question that my show is known for. So I have to ask. What is the one word that best describes you and why?
Drive. I want to say consistency, but drive is right there with it. I make up my mind, man, and I go for it. 4 years working out.
Yes.
Going on my fourth strike, learning piano. You know, all of these things require drive. And you know, don't even let me get into my financials, paying down like, you know, credit cards to like virtually nothing the last year. Drive, man. Drive. That, I think that's that drive. And I wanted this again, consistency, but I think drive is it, man. I think that's the word for me. You know, which is why, real quick, before we get off the air, I got to make sure that I plug a couple songs that I want people to check out. Pray For You, which is now available everywhere, but I always tell people to go to rogerortega.com, and let me tell you why. Because what I'm going to start doing with my song, I'm sorry, I don't know how much time we have here.
Come on, man.
Okay. You know, with streaming, artists are hurting because we're not getting the money that we would get if people would buy the single. So I've decided, after talking with my management, Kick Up Your Heels Entertainment, and my wife, that we're going to start putting out music on rogerortega.com first, at least for a few weeks. The people that are going to buy it will buy it there. There's no middleman there. Well, there is a little bit. They don't get nearly as much as I'm going to get, you know, as Spotify or anybody would get. So it's a way to kind of make up the difference. And then, like you do, like with movies, when the movie's out, then it goes to DVD. DVD is going to be Spotify and Amazon and iTunes and all that stuff. So we're going to, you know, put everything exclusively on rogerortega.com first. We did that with Pray For You, and it's been doing great. I'm really going to start promoting that song after the Christmas season, because right now what we're promoting are the 2 Christmas singles that I have. I have one called My First Christmas With You, which is a very smooth R&B harmony, really romantic song done in my falsetto. And then last year I recorded a version of Wham's Last Christmas, because if you really listen to the lyrics, it's a sad song. And so I took that melancholy approach and I made it sad. I actually shot a video out in Toronto last year. Me and the director were out. It was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, blistering cold. And my lips, I didn't even know if they were moving. I'm like trying to lip sync, and I'm like, I don't even know or care. It was the most brutally cold I've ever been in my entire life. But the video came out great.
I can possibly imagine in Toronto. Yeah.
Where are you located?
Right now I'm in Chicago.
Oh, okay. So you know. Yeah,
I'm not that far from it, but hey, it has to get there before it gets here. So
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, Last Christmas and My First Christmas with You, available everywhere. Same with Pray For You as well.
Okay, I love it, man. So, man, how can people get in contact with you? I know you just shouted out your
the website. Yeah, that's okay.
I'm sorry, forgive me, I'm a little tongue-tied.
Oh yeah, that's all right.
How else can people get in contact with you on social media?
So there's, of course, like we said, rogerortega.com. There are links to all of my social media there, but Instagram is Roger Ortega, R&B pop writer. You know, I spell it RNBPOPWRYTR. And in R&B pop writer there, Roger Ortega Facebook, R&B pop writer on Twitter. And what's the other? TikTok, all those, everything else is R&B pop. I mean, there's so many, man, it's hard to keep up with them all, but I mainly focus, I hang out a lot on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, stuff. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard him, R&B pop writer, as you can see right behind him with that Kansas jersey. All right, so man, follow him on social media. Man, go to his website, download, get the songs, man, stream on the website. Roger Ortega.
I'm gonna get this little boomerang of us real quick.
All right, man.
What a wave, man. There we go. Beautiful.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are. I have been your host, Ty Brownlow. This has been Word with Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. You can catch me on social media, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Word with Ty Brownlow. Follow me on Twitter at Ty Brownlow TV, or go to my website, tybrownlow.com. Get this interview along with other great interviews. Mr. Roger Ortega, I thank you for being my guest tonight. We out. Peace.